Your eyes will thank you for adding an e-reader to your daily routine. In fact, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that everyone should have one in 2025 to offload some of their excessive daily screen usage. Instead of blasting your retinas with the harsh LED of our phones and computers, e-ink displays use tiny magnetized ink capsules to create a look that closely mimics real paper. You get the comfort of reading on paper, but with all the modern perks, digital file storage, internet access, and smart features. There are some truly excellent devices in this category, each with its own strengths, and today we're breaking down the top 5 e-readers of 2025. As always, you'll find links to the best deals in the description. Let's start with the one that's both the most familiar and the most improved, the Kindle Scribe. When Amazon first launched it, it felt like they were saying, look, we made a Kindle, but now you can write on it, which was exciting. Until you realized the writing tools were bare bones and syncing notes across devices was about as elegant as a fax machine. Fast forward to the 2025 update and things have actually leveled up a ton. You're still getting a large, sharp 10.2-inch e-ink display, but now it finally feels like it earns the Scribe name. The new software lets you write directly in books, not just in separate notebooks, and the handwriting is actually usable. You can highlight a passage, scribble a note in the margin, and come back later to find it neatly organized. And in some cases, summarized using Amazon's built-in AI. It is not perfect, but it is surprisingly useful when you are trying to remember what Chapter 5 was about without rereading Chapter 5. The included stylus, especially the premium version with the eraser and shortcut button, feels smooth with practically no lag. If you have ever tried writing on glass, you know how gross and slippery that can feel. The Scribe's textured screen fixes that, giving you a little bit of paper friction without looking like you're drawing with sandpaper. As a reading device, it is classic Kindle. You get seamless integration with Amazon's ecosystem, access to millions of books, built-in Audible support, and of course, the Kindle Store's relentless attempts to sell you another book the moment you finish one. What it does not have is support for EPUB files, easy library borrowing, or freedom from Amazon's walled garden. So if you are hoping to annotate a bunch of public domain PDFs or sideload your obscure sci-fi collection, you are going to run into some friction. But if your reading habits live comfortably in the Amazon ecosystem, and you like the idea of writing directly in your books without going full-on tablet mode, the Scribe is probably the most natural upgrade you can make, and the Kindle software provides a really smooth user experience. Up next though, what if you do want a full tablet mode? The Booksnote Air 4C might be calling your name. The Booksnote Air 4C runs full Android, meaning you can install apps like Kindle, Kobo, Libby, Dropbox, Evernote, and yes, even TikTok if you're okay with committing absolute heresy on an e-ink display. The C in its name stands for color, which the beautiful Kaleido 3 display provides. Not vivid, saturated OLED-level color, but enough to make comic books, diagrams, and book covers look great. It is surprisingly pleasant, especially for textbooks and reference materials that use color coding. The writing experience is excellent, the stylus is responsive, lag is minimal, and you can draw, sketch, or annotate anything: books, PDFs, images, screenshots, you name it. And since it runs Android, the note-taking options are virtually endless. You want to use OneNote? Sure. Prefer handwriting in Google Keep? Go for it. Of course, with that freedom comes complexity. The interface is not as elegant or focused as something like the Remarkable or even the Kindle. There are menus, submenus, settings for things you did not know needed settings. It is powerful, but sometimes you will spend more time customizing your pen pressure curve than actually writing anything. Also, while it is fairly light for its size, it is still a 10-inch device. This is not something you hold with one hand in bed for an hour, unless you're training for a thumb marathon. Battery life is solid, though not quite the weeks-long stamina of simpler readers, especially if you are using apps or the front light often. And speaking of the front light, it's adjustable and very even, but the color layer does add a bit of grain to the screen compared to pure black and white devices. The Booksnote Air 4C is best for power users, students, annotators, multitaskers, people who say things like workflow unironically. If you want one device to handle reading, note-taking, drawing, file syncing, and app running, and you do not mind a bit of a learning curve, this is the closest thing to a color tablet that still respects your eyes. Alright, let's shift gears. If the Booksnote Air 4C is the Swiss Army knife of e-readers, the Kobo Libra Color is a simpler alternative you can take anywhere, and it still offers the ability to show color. This is the latest evolution of Kobo's mid-size lineup, and it strikes a really sweet balance between portability and functionality. With a 7-inch e-ink Kaleido 3 display, yes, the same screen tech as the Book's 4C. It's smaller than the Kindle Scribe or Books, but still big enough to read comfortably for long stretches without feeling cramped. Physically, it feels great in the hand. The asymmetric design with one thicker edge is deliberate. It gives you a grip that feels secure without needing a case, and the built-in page turn buttons are incredibly satisfying. There's something grounding about clicking a real button instead of swiping a screen every time you turn a page. Unlike Kindle, Kobo really shines for its flexibility in compatible file types. You get full support for over a dozen formats Amazon would rather pretend don't exist. You can sideload your own files with drag and drop, borrow books directly from your local library through Overdrive, and even mark up books with a stylus. Yes, this Kobo supports pen input. The stylus is optional, and the note-taking features feel a bit tacked on rather than deeply integrated. Think of it more as a bonus feature than a reason to buy the device. Battery life is also strong, bringing multiple weeks on a single charge, and the front light is excellent, with both brightness and warmth controls for nighttime reading. Now let's go into the minimalist, monk-like world of the Remarkable 2. The Remarkable 2 is, first and foremost, a digital notebook. It has a beautiful paper-thin design, literally thinner than most smartphones, and a 10.3-inch monochrome e-ink display that is entirely devoted to one thing: writing. No color, no built-in bookstore, no ads trying to upsell you on the latest Dan Brown novel, just notebooks, PDFs, and a very satisfying pen. And the writing experience? It is excellent. In fact, it's the reason people buy this device in the first place. The pen glides across the screen with a subtle texture that feels surprisingly close to actual paper. There's almost no input lag, and it even makes that faint pencil-on-page sound that tricks your brain into thinking you're back in a college lecture, taking notes you'll never read again. There's no backlight though, so if you like to write or read in bed at night, you'll need a lamp. Some people see this as a deal breaker, others see it as a feature, because the whole point of the Remarkable is to give your brain fewer excuses to wander off. No glowing screen, no social media apps, no notifications, just ideas. You can import PDFs, annotate them with ease, and export your notes via email or Cloud Sync. The Remarkable Connect subscription adds Google Drive, OneDrive, and Dropbox integration, along with handwriting to text conversion, which is surprisingly accurate unless your handwriting looks like a prescription pad. Now, to be clear, this is not a Kindle. It can display ebooks, but it does not support EPUB or Kindle formats. And even though you can technically read on it, there's no built-in bookstore, no highlighting tools, no dictionary pop-ups. It's not meant for immersive reading, it's meant for deep work. If you're a writer, a planner, a thinker, someone who still keeps a moleskin or scribbles in the margins of everything, this thing will feel like home. And finally, we come to the Pocketbook Ecolor, the wild card of the bunch. If Kindle is the corporate standard and Remarkable is the focused artisan, Pocketbook is the eccentric world traveler who somehow speaks every file format fluently and has a surprising taste for audiobooks. The Ecolor is a compact 7-inch color e-reader, again, using the latest Kaleido technology. One of the things that makes Pocketbook devices so interesting and criminally underrated is their format support. This little thing can read pretty much any text file type you can throw at it. You probably won't need all these formats, but it's nice to have the options. Interestingly, it also supports text-to-speech right out of the box. You can plug in wired headphones, pair Bluetooth ones, or use the built-in speaker, and it'll read your book to you in a surprisingly clear voice. You can even adjust the speed and tone. It's not exactly Audible-grade narration, but if you want to rest your eyes and still get through that history book, it gets the job done. Physically, it's pocketable but sturdy. The asymmetrical design with physical page turn buttons is similar to the Kobo Libra. And that's a good thing. It's also waterproof, which makes it a great companion for beach days, bathtubs, or just clumsy hands. Now the downsides. The software, while functional, can feel a little clunky at times. It's not as smooth or polished as Kindle or Kobo, which could be a small price to pay for the increased freedom and features. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments which one you're leaning toward. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.